Okay, hello everyone, welcome. And today we are so excited to host this webinar with our close partner GpsGate to talk about smarter asset tracking solutions with real-world use cases. And let me introduce our speakers first for today. Vernon and Travis from Queclink, together with Upper and Carlos from GpsGate, will introduce you the value of our Queclink access tracker devices and also showing you how our devices integrated to the GpsGate platform in a very easier way to deliver you a very clear and actionable data. And we also prepared the prize draw for today. So any of you who at the webinar submit the form of the project of minimum 100 units will win the draw. Will have opportunity to win an amazing prize. I saw someone give the like. Okay. We will release the detail at the end of the webinar. I would say that's really big prize and a good opportunities to let you test your ongoing project. So please stay until the end with us. And now I would hand over to Vernon from our side to talk about the Queclink component introduction.
Thanks, Sweet. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world. I always say that because typically on these webinars, we've got people joining from all over the world, and some of them it's morning time, some of them it's evening time. So good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. So a little bit about Queclink, for those of you who maybe don't know too much about us. Queclink is arguably one of the largest telematics and IoT hardware manufacturers in the world. To give you an idea of why that is, to date, we have delivered around 73 million devices worldwide. That's a staggering number of tracking units out there from us as a company. We operate in around 170 countries. Sorry, Sweet, you've gone backwards there. I'm not sure why. Yep, we operate in around 170 countries. We are based in Shanghai in China, and we are a publicly listed company on the Shenzhen Stock Exchange. As I say, the company has its roots in China, but we have people operating all over the world. We've been around for about 17 years now. Sweet, if you want to move on to the next slide, please. I'll give you some more stats on that. So just with regards to that listing on the stock exchange, we operate with currently a $1.4 billion market cap. As I said before, around 73 million products delivered so far. We've got roughly 4,000 clients globally. That number is growing all the time. And as I said, we've been around for 17 years. The most important stats for me are the next line or the bottom line on this screen. I've been in telematics for about 25 years, and I can tell you that the measure of a good telematics company is what they spend on research and development. At Queclink, we're at the forefront of this. We have got 3 state-of-the-art R&D centers, which I'll talk about in slides to come, but these are phenomenal facilities. Also, in terms of headcount, as a company, we're around 550 people. 300 of those are engineers. Now, typically, if we look at the landscape of our competitors, they are very much more focused on sales and marketing with not so many engineers. We as a company are more focused on our engineers. And the reason for that is we want to develop, obviously, the most up-to-date, high-tech, best-in-breed products for you, our customers. The other really important thing is how much could we deliver at one particular time? What's our production capacity? Well, to give you an idea, it's a staggering 950,000 devices in a month. Now, December of last year, December 2025, I can assure you we were pushed to our very limits. That's how busy we have been. But we are capable as a company through our various manufacturing plants of delivering 950,000 devices in a month. And then the final one, as I said, we operate in around 170 countries. But to be honest with you, that number is growing all the time. In fact, this year we've got some very ambitious plans to go into other regions. Sweet, if we can move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so talking about regions we cover, here's a global representation of where we have people currently on the ground. Now, this is where we have actual salespeople, actual FAEs. Now, an FAE is our technical team, so these are the guys who provide ongoing product support for our customers. To me, it's one of our USPs. One of the things I'm always told when customers switch from another provider to us is the reason they've done this is because of the support that we're able to deliver our clients in the relevant languages, in the relevant countries. And as I said, we're moving into new regions this year. I can safely say you'll see a lot more flags on the map as of the end of this year. Africa specifically, we are targeting this year to grow our presence in Africa. If we can move on to the next slide, please. So, R&D centers. As I said, measure a company by what it spends on R&D. And Queclink have spent around $1 billion over the last 5 years. As I said, we have 3 R&D facilities. Travis and I have been lucky enough to go across to China and visit these facilities. And for anyone who's on this call who's a Star Trek, Star Wars fan, I promise you now, when you walk into these buildings, it's like walking into the future. The facilities themselves are amazing. The equipment and the way that they test these products is phenomenal. I've never seen anything like it in my life. One of the things we love to do as a company is invite our customers, come over to China, come to Shanghai, come and have a look at our R&D centers because they are amazing. And I think only if you get to see these facilities can you really truly begin to understand the size and scale of our company. Next slide, please. I'm going to hand over to Alpa now to tell you a little bit about GpsGate. So Alpa, over to you.
Thank you very much, Renan. Before I start telling you about GpsGate, I would like to encourage you to take out your phones and scan the QR code that you see on the screen right now. This QR code is going to take you to GpsGate's sign up page. By just filling up 5 fields and clicking submit, you will have access to your own fully functional production GpsGate server. And then obviously you can start testing your Queclink devices on this server immediately. I'll just give you 5 more seconds to just take out your phones and scan this QR code. I can assure you GpsGate is the platform which is the easiest to get access to in this market at this moment. There's no need to enter your credit card information or anything like that. You just need to submit, and then your server will be up and running within 2 minutes. Now we can move on to the next slide, please, Sweet. GpsGate is a Swedish company founded and headquartered in Stockholm, Sweden, and we have another office in Gothenburg, Sweden. We have been developing our fleet management platform since 18 years now, and we have been partners with Queclink since the beginning. Obviously, we support all of the Queclink devices even before they are released to the public because of our tight relationship. And that tight relationship is coming a bit because I was working as a sales manager in Queclink for 9 years before I joined GpsGate. So we have a very good relationship in between 2 companies. We are a very, very focused on design company. And GpsGate's main differentiator in the market is the flexibility. When you look at the market, the competition platforms are handing out to you industry standard features, and they say, okay, take these standard features and then try to make money with these. In GpsGate, we already give you the industry standard essential features, but we also give you the ability to develop your own features on top of them. So this is where we diversify. And then in this very competitive market where profit margins are very, very small for basic use cases, diversifying from the crowd is all that matters. If you want a future-proof, sustainable company and you would like your company to grow, we are here to help you with this. Of course, all of these customizations and then developments that you would like to do, if you don't have the technical skills to do it, we have a team called professional services who are very happy to help you to do these customizations. So all you need to do is go out and sell, and then we are here to help you to close those deals together. Our mission is to put the users in control, so we don't put you in a box. You are limited to this, this, this. We put you in control, and you are in full control of the platform. And our vision is to contribute to a future where fleets are greener, safer, and more profitable. Next slide, please. Would like to hand it back to Vernon to talk about the market trends in asset tracking market this point.
Thanks, Alpa. So yes, just a quick slide really to talk through what we are seeing as a manufacturer, what the demands are from the marketplace and potentially what they look like in the future. And it's really simple. When you're talking about asset tracking, you're talking about 4 factors currently. First and foremost, size. Size does matter. We have got more and more customers demanding, not asking, demanding smaller and smaller tracking units. As asset tracking becomes more and more popular, the use cases become more and more, and people are wanting much smaller devices. But interestingly enough, what they're not prepared to do is compromise on the longevity or the lifespan of these devices. So they're wanting us as a manufacturer to make the smallest devices last the longest time possible. So those 2 factors are definitely the most important: size and battery life. Following on from there, we've got a lot of demand at the moment for additional sensors. Now, that's not only on the device itself, so think of things like light sensors, temperature, humidity, etc., but also the asset tracking device's capability to link to other sensors on whatever piece of equipment that the unit is going to go on. And then finally, the 4th thing that everybody's looking for is different methods of connectivity. So as I said before, I've been in this game for about 25 years. It was always historically GSM and GPS, but these days that's just not enough. We've got people now wanting to track assets right out in the middle of the ocean, right underneath the ground in mining sites, inside subterranean buildings. You name it, it's all going on. And obviously we are trying to find methods where we can provide customers with that connectivity. I've listed 2 here. I'm going to talk first about satellite communication. We're going to look at a specific device that does that later on. But customers, as I said, are now wanting to track assets in really remote locations where there is no GSM coverage. Like I said, out in the open ocean, mining sites are very prevalent at the moment. The other method of communication is called RF433. Now, what you might ask is, what is that? Well, if you think of your old school traditional FM radio, it's much the same as an old school radio signal. And the great thing about RF433, you'll see on the screen here all of these steel containers that this man is standing in front of. Well, we know, for example, in the stolen vehicle recovery market, the most common trick for thieves is to steal that vehicle and drive it into one of these containers, because typically that blocks GPS and blocks GSM signals. They can then, at leisure, take the vehicle apart until they find the tracking unit, take it out, disconnect it, whatever, and that's how they're stealing vehicles. Well, RF433 is not bothered by steel containers. It's not bothered whether you park the vehicle underground or, in a steel roofed building. None of that matters. RF433 will go through all of that. And what we're seeing now is a surge or an increase in companies that are actually equipping themselves with the right machinery or equipment to track RF433 signals. So that's a really big area of growth. And we'll touch on that again when we start looking at the devices in more detail. Sweet, if we can move on, please. Okay, so just talking about applications. Most of you will be familiar with all of these, but this is typically where we see the demand coming for asset tracking units. First and foremost, obviously, cargo theft and safety. I'm going to say quality as well, because as I mentioned earlier on, we've got a lot more customers now wanting to track the condition of their produce or product going from one side of the world to the other. Think about pharmaceuticals, etc. People are now really interested in, well, what temperature was my load going from one side of the world to the other. Was it exposed to light? Was it exposed to extreme cold, extreme heat, etc.? The other sector that's really booming is stolen vehicle recovery, and this is massive in the UK, but also I'm seeing a huge demand for it now across the whole of Europe. We manufacture very specific products for this sector. They work in a very special way. I'm not going to go into that on this call, but if anyone wants to talk in depth about SVR, please get hold of myself and Travis after this. We'd love to have a chat with you. Warehouse asset management, believe it or not, tracking a product through the lifespan of its manufacture all the way out to delivery, and then where it's getting delivered to as well is becoming really important. And yes, we can provide devices that will track inside of a massive factory or warehouse. Another area that we're seeing a great uplift in demand, believe it or not, is sporting events. So things like cycling races, motor races, yacht races, you name it. We're seeing a lot more companies coming to us and athletes coming to us saying, we want a device that we can track, a number of participants in a race. This could be over a mountain. This could be, like a Tour de France type scenario. We're seeing a lot more demand in that space, and we've built a device very specifically for that, which we'll talk about in a short while. Lone worker security. So again, you've got vulnerable workers out in the working world, being able to monitor them where they are, having the ability to generate SOS messages should something go wrong. Again, we're seeing a demand for more and more devices in this space as well. And then finally, high value asset theft. So this was quite prevalent probably 15 or 20 years ago, and then it kind of went quiet. But now, believe it or not, more and more of these ATMs are being stolen, ripped out of the wall, dragged away. And we've got a lot of companies talking to us saying, guys, can you help us with this? How can we possibly track these devices if they are stolen? So again, we have very specific products that will lend themselves to that environment. Next slide, please. So we have a portfolio of hundreds of devices, and I've put 7 devices up on the screen here. If I was to try and talk you through our entire portfolio, we'd be here all day. So let me just talk to you about probably our 7 most popular. Now, the top line are fully self-powered. These are all units that have an internal battery only. The bottom line are devices that will connect to a power source in a vehicle, but also have the facility to self-power. So they have a standby time. I'm going to talk about them all in a little bit more detail on individual slides. So Sweet, can we move on to the first one, please? So the GL320MG, probably one of our most popular devices. I have put on the screen there the dimensions of the devices. I've done this with all of them, by the way, so you can get an idea of how small they actually are. Now, the GL320 is a rechargeable device. It's a reusable device. We have several others that are rechargeable. But the idea for this one is you can use it for very short runs. What I've done on all of these slides, you'll notice, is I've tried to put reporting hours in here as well. So, for example, the GL320, if it was reporting every 10 minutes, you could expect around 300 hours of life out of the device. As I mentioned, it's rechargeable. On the front, you'll see there's a button. Now, that button can be configured to work in a myriad of different ways. It's up to you, our customer, to decide how you want that to work. And obviously, we would work with you to design firmware to make it work however you need. But that could be, an emergency. It could be to generate a specific type of report when pressed. There's lots of different reasons for having that. And then obviously it does all the usual start, stop, location, etc. Reporting. Typical use cases, standard in the asset monitoring world. It's a very good device for lone worker safety, and also very popular in the stolen vehicle recovery sector. And also another area that we're looking at as a business at the moment is lot management. So where vehicles are coming out of manufacturers and going into different lease companies, for example, they get moved around from place to place. It's an ideal unit for that type of market. So if you aren't looking in that space, I would advise you to get your sales guys to go out and have a look at any company that's doing lot management. This is a brilliant device for that. Next slide, please. Here we go, GL533CG. So slightly larger than the device we just looked at, but this is a device that's become extremely popular in the stolen vehicle recovery space. And why? Because it has that RF433 technology. I am not sure whether there are any units out there from our competitors that actually offer RF433. I stand to be corrected, but I'm not familiar with any. So this device for us at the moment has become really popular. It's long standby time. So if it was reporting once a day, just saying, here I am, you could look at about 4 years out of that device. You have the facility also that if you wanted to switch that into a different profile of reporting, so if it was in a vehicle that was then stolen and reported stolen, you could switch it to a much quicker reporting rate than once a day. So again, just something you can do with our hardware. It's waterproof and dustproof as well. So again, it lends itself to being fitted in all kinds of different locations. Next slide, please. Okay, so the GL53MG Plus, again, very popular device, been around quite a while for us, I think probably 2 or 3 years now. Very similar in terms of its standby time. So 1 report a day, you're looking at about 4 years worth of use on that device. Dust and water resistant. Again, you've got that button on the front, which you can configure to work however you want. And again, just a really small device that's great for normal asset tracking. And also, it's also quite widely used in the stolen vehicle recovery space. Next slide. Okay, so we had a lot of customers asking us for a device that would last a lot longer than 4 years. And we heard them, we went away and we developed this unit, which is based on our long-term asset tracker device, but it has a solar panel on the top, which allows it to recharge itself whenever it's in line of sight of the sun. That particular unit is absolutely ideal for container tracking, big truck trailer tracking, large plant monitoring, etc. That solar panel will top up the battery to give that device a lifespan of around 10 years. So 1 report a day, we're saying 10 years. In fact, it could well be a lot longer than that, but we're safely saying it will definitely last up to about 10 years. A really important factor of it is it's IP69 rated, which means you could stick it on the side of a steel container that's going to get jet washed and it will be fine. There'll be no water ingress. It's a really ruggedized device. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the device that we are putting out into a lot of the companies doing sporting events at the moment. And the reason for that, obviously, if you look at the dimensions, it's tiny. It weighs next to nothing, so it's really easy to plop into a backpack of a guy doing a mountain race like the guy we can see in the picture here. But it's also equally at home stuck onto a bicycle or a yacht or whatever it is. It weighs next to nothing. Lifespan on that device, it's a rechargeable unit. Sorry, I should have said that at the beginning. Lifespan of that on a full charge at 1 report a day is around 190 days. But in this space, it's really, really important. And again, guys, I will say this, our competitors cannot do this. Our unit can report up to once a second. So if you want a really accurate track of a sporting event and you need a location and a speed of every single second, this device can do it. And that's why we're seeing such an increase in demand for this particular unit. It's also really good for the lone worker application. So again, because it's so small, clip it into a work belt, clip it into a toolbox, whatever, and off you go. It's a great, great little unit. Next slide, please. Okay, so those were all the self-powered units. These are the vehicle and self-powered units. So this is the GB620, very, very popular unit. I've sold tons of these. It's really popular in the trailer tracking market. Why would people need to track big trailers, you ask? Believe me, and all of you guys that are in the fleet market will know this. companies lose these trailers all day, every day. They don't know where they were left parked and they lose them. It's phenomenal. I was very shocked the first time I heard about it, but it is a genuine, huge problem. This device will mount onto a trailer or a large piece of plant. And when the truck is connected to the trailer, it will actually charge up the internal battery. When the truck is disconnected from the trailer, it will then switch into its internal battery. On one report a day, you're looking at about 90 days, which is 3 months. To be honest with you, if a trailer stood standing for 3 months, you don't need that trailer. So a lot of fleets actually use this product to rationalize how many assets they actually need to operate efficiently. It is dust and waterproof. A lot of people fitting this into trailers that are jet washed, etc. It's a great device for that. Also, I'm going to actually just let Alpa speak for a minute because I know there's a very clever piece of integration or functionality on the GpsGate platform that works in conjunction with that device. Alpa, do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, sure, Vernon. Thank you very much. The thing is, in GpsGate, you can actually pair a truck with a trailer when both truck and the trailer have tracking devices in them. So you can actually see what truck is holding what trailer. And as you mentioned, it's very, very easy to lose a trailer. Maybe we could give a example. I mean, in a trailer parking lot, there could be thousands of trailers looking exactly alike, and you tell the truck driver and go and take trailer number 321 to take it to from Amsterdam to Rotterdam. But he goes and takes 327 to from Amsterdam to Rotterdam. Then you only know this if you don't have a tracking device in the trailer. You only know this when it reaches there. So this is a super good feature in GpsGate. You can actually pair these into a pair. Also, on top of this, you can use this functionality for construction equipment, mining equipment. You have a mobile diesel generator in your mind, which is like 2 cities large, and you want to know where it is and who actually put it there. You can actually do it. And on top of this, I believe this is the most important part. The our audience who are tuning in today, system integrators, I'm sure you have transportation company as your customers, and you think that, okay, this transportation company has 200 trucks, and I have already sold 200 devices to this company, and there's nothing more that I can sell to this company, but they're already paying to me, they're already in my portfolio. But that company also has 500 trailers, so you can generate more revenue from your already existing portfolio with this approach, because trailers, they also require maintenance as well. They also require tire change, oil pressure or brake fluid pressure controls, and whatever it is. Nobody knows what is the mileage of a trailer if you don't have a tracking device on the trailer. And it is the responsibility of the truck driver or for the health of the trailer when they don't care too much because they don't own the trailer. So we would be happy to help anyone who would like to address these problems in their markets.
Thanks, Alpa. Sweet, can we move on to the next one, please? So this is one of our newest devices. This is the GB75 MG SAT. The MG stands for Global SAT, obviously satellite connectivity. This is our first satellite capable device. Again, designed and built through customer demand. We've got more and more customers now wanting to track their loads across the entire ocean in mining sites, wherever there's no GSM coverage, essentially. Other important factors to note about this device is it has what we call wide voltage support. That means it can go into anything from 9 volts to 90 volts. More and more now with the EV revolution globally, we're seeing more and more vehicles or assets being electrically powered rather than internal combustion engines, and they have huge voltage differences in the way they're designed. This unit lends itself to go into pretty much anything. And it has also what we call zero power consumption. Really important when you're thinking about a unit that runs off a battery. And what does it mean? It means that when that unit is not moving, our device will go to sleep. When that device is asleep, it draws absolutely zero current. So it maintains the highest battery charge levels in whatever asset it's put into. So I think it's going to be a great device. We've literally just launched it and we're seeing a lot of demand for it. And I think that is me. I'm probably going to hand back over to Alpa now, who's going to show you how easy it is to actually add a Queclink device to the GpsGate platform. Alpa, all yours.
Thank you very much, Vernon. Now I would like to show you a video playback of the process of how to add a Queclink device on GpsGate. So you just received your sample device from Queclink and you just want to start testing immediately, and you don't want to deal with the managed tool. All you have to do is to go to GpsGate and do as follows. Just play the video. Sweet. I believe
I
there
don't
is,
think we've got any audio.
yeah, no audio there, but I can actually do the audio. We're going to show you how to connect the Queclink device to. You can just keep playing, sweet. It's okay. All right. All you need to do is to click Add Asset, and then you need to name your asset something, and then click the correct device type, and click Next for SMS configuration. Then you will enter the IMEI number of your device, an APN name, and the phone number, then the password. GpsGate will automatically generate the SMS command to be sent, which is going to be scanned by your mobile phone's camera as a QR code. Then it's going to be sent to the SMS sending application to your phone. And then when you send this SMS, you click, yes, I have sent this SMS. And then your device is ready to be reporting data to GpsGate, and it's actually already reporting to GpsGate. As you can see, it's within less than 1.5 minutes reporting to GpsGate.
Super easy.
Very, very much. And then this is the desktop version of GpsGate. In the next slide, please, you will see our mobile application called Fleet App by GpsGate. We have a very, very powerful mobile application. You can just start playing Sweet now. And in our mobile application, you can also do the same. You can add devices without using the manage tool. All you need to do is the same as the desktop. You add the name and then the device model number. Click next, and then the IMEI number you can actually scan with your phone's camera. That's pretty clever, I would say. And then add the phone number and the APN. Then lastly, the password for the device. And then again, Fleet app will generate automatically the command that is to be sent to this device by SMS for it to be starting sending data to this particular GpsGate server. So when you send these two commands, this is actually live. So it has been recorded live. So you will see live data coming in to this particular server in a second. As you can see, yeah, immediately start sending data to our servers in Stockholm. Yeah, I believe this is pretty unique in the market, and I would encourage you to do your own tests in GpsGate, which you have already scanned the QR code for, so you should already have your own GpsGate accounts by now. Now we can move on to the next slide, please. On top of Vernon's use cases, which are very, very valid and very valuable in asset tracking, I would like to add service fleet utilization. You know, there are various kinds of fleets doing service business, service tasks all around the world, like cleaning or elderly care or maintenance or sales fleets, and they all require fleet control. So you can actually import all of your points of interest. I mean, that could be sales points or construction sites or points to be cleaned. And then you can have multi-layer authorization and management on GpsGate. The valuable information, or we can say KPI, to the fleet manager or the sales manager for a sales fleet would be number of visits to the customers, and also how long do those takes. Also, on top of that, number of customers who have not been visited, which is definitely directly having an impact on overall efficiency of the fleet. So in the next slide, I will show you the reports that we are generating. Can you please move on to the next slide, please? Yep. Now you can see two reports that have been generated. These are generic reports from GpsGate, but you have the ability to customize these reports, or if you like, you can actually generate your own report from completely scratch in GpsGate. This is why we say we don't put any limits on you. You can do whatever you want in GpsGate to close that deal. So to the left, you see customer visits report, which actually shows you what agent has done what visits and how long did it take. And these days sales teams are thinking that they can outsmart systems like ours. But actually, you can see how much time has been spent on every point of interest. So driving the route only without even getting out of the car doesn't cut it anymore. So you can actually even see if the door has been opened or not. You can add that into this report. Or in the other report, you can see which customers have not been visited. So you can question your sales team and then make them more efficient by saying that, what did you sell in the 2 minutes that you have spent in this supermarket? So next slide, please. In this slide, I'm going to show you a video playback of the actual service utilization feature, which is going to give you a little bit more idea of how GpsGate works. Of course, as you have all scanned the QR code, you already have access to this. So we can just start playing. Sweet. You can see GpsGate is comprised of panels, and to the left you have the points of interest. Of course, you can move this panel to wherever you want, and you can see all of the points of interest there, all around Sweden in 3 different sections. And to the bottom, there's a panel that shows the list of vehicles who are doing the service to those 3 fields. They're assigned each a number of customers to visit. As you can see, these vehicles are driving and visiting customers actively, and you can see which customer is it actually at that moment. But I mean, you can, if you want, you can add the name of the driver to that panel, or you can add whatever information, or the customer's information, or customer stock status to that panel very easily. As you can see, all the vehicles are driving, and then now we are going to do a live report of customer visits. All you need to do is to go to reports and click customer visits and select the time frame for this report, and then click generate. As you can see, this is live recording, so this is how fast the system is actually processing the reports in live. As you can see, this report shows how many customers have been stopped by and how much time has been spent by each vehicle. And then, of course, we are interested in the customers which have not been visited. So we can actually go to that report, select the time frame, and then we will generate the report for that particular case as well. As I said before, you can generate your own report. So if your customer says, yeah, this report looks good, but could you add this? Yes, you could add that without talking to GpsGate. You can do it. You don't need our authorization or help to do this. As you can see, this is the report that shows the not visited customers. And of course, you can extract this report from GpsGate in whatever format you want, basically. So next slide, please. I believe talking about the real life use case is also good for a webinar like this. We have a joint customer with Queclink called Sky Angel in Mexico. Besides their other use cases, they're also giving out their services to a company called Maersk. I'm sure you are all familiar with this. They're tracking 5,000 of their containers with Queclink's GL520 series devices, I believe, 4G devices. And they're tracking those containers on land. So when they land, when they get out of the ship, they track those containers to their destinations, and they're keeping keeping record of the time that has been spent on the destination. And then, of course, they need the containers to be back on the port for the next load. So this is what Sky Angel is actually giving out the service to the Maersk company. It is a very good proven case which can be replicated all around the world to any kind of shipping container company. And in GpsGate, we are more than happy to help you to replicate this case in your local region. So next slide, please. Overall, I would like to call this the next step because I have some figures for you. In Europe alone, I'm sure you would not have guessed this, but in Europe alone, there are almost 100,000 mobile care workers, which are requiring fleet management. So they need to stop by in elderly care homes or individual homes every day for a certain amount of time. And mostly this is done by pen and paper at this moment. In Middle East alone, there are 45,000 remote workers doing like maintenance of mobile diesel generators or base towers or any kind of work which is making them to work alone mobile. Then there's about almost 500,000 greenery and hygiene workers in Southeast Asia alone. So these people are going to the offices, watering the plant, cleaning the carpet, cleaning the toilets or whatever it is. And they are also doing this by pen and paper. I'm sure you must have seen a lot of pen and paper notes at the back of toilet doors. They're just signing their name every 1 hour as if the task has been done, but you don't know if it's done. And there are almost 150,000 field sales representatives in Africa. So they go out and they sell the FMCG products or dairy products or cheese, whatever we can call it. And then the company that are sending them out, that who is investing in all of these salespeople, paying their fuel, paying their salaries, they just hope that they will do their job. But with this offering, definitely you can give them a very good leverage over their fleet performance, also the sales performance. I would say it is time to go out and meet the service fleets in your respective regions. And then this is like compared to the vehicle tracking devices, you don't need any installation. You just ship these devices to them and they just start using immediately. So it is pretty high value and fast. And we are in GpsGate very eager to help you with any kind of project that you could have. So next slide, please. Now, if you have any questions, we have Travis from Queclink and Carlos from our side, GpsGate, to answer these. Should we pick a couple of questions to answer, Travis, or?
Yeah, hi everyone. We've had a couple of questions which I've responded to as we've gone through the call, but I'll pick some of them up now to give you all a general update on them. So we talked about the GL533CG. Was it rechargeable? No, it's not a rechargeable device. It's a single-use device. Based on the SVR use case, again, it's the kind of thing where obviously it's designed to last for several years in situ, and obviously really realistically only designed to utilize the 433 technology in the event of a theft. However, you can replace the battery. It can be replaced. It's just not rechargeable. So obviously the idea is a single use case, high value goods, again, as Vernon mentioned earlier in the presentation. So yeah, that is not a rechargeable device, but batteries can be replaced if the use case was obviously suitable. So the GL30MG, MEU, MG, depending which one we use. So that's the small device, this one, which we're using for sports events and so on like that. 1 second tracking, it can do down to 1 second tracking. We've experienced between 10 and 17 hours on 1 hour tracking. It can obviously vary on environment and signal quality and varying other things and configuration, but it will do 1 second reporting. What it can also do is it can package multiple seconds up. So up to 60 seconds into a single package. A lot of our other devices only do 15, but that was a requirement from one customer that we had, so we were able to do that and create a compressed report. There was another question just on the GL601. So the 601, I realized there's a lot of numbers out there, was the larger rechargeable solar powered device, again battery, predominantly used for container tracking, etc. The question was just about rail certification. Not specifically a rail certification that we have for this device, but if that was something that was required in a region, it can be something that we can discuss depending on the opportunity size. Certain certifications we do obviously do by default as a business to cover certain regions. but there will be some other very specific certifications that we would have to work with a customer to then go through the approval process. That's kind of all we've really got at the moment, unless there's any more questions. I've just had another one, sorry, on Q&A. Yeah, how easy is it to get CE test certificates for type approval? Pretty easy. I mean, we run through that process. CE is a pretty standard test approval. We obviously use certain test houses specifically to be able to get these things done. So most of our devices are all CE approved anyway. The only ones that wouldn't be is things that are in current beta testing and still kind of under development. So yeah, CE testing is quite easy. Normally, I believe if it was a new product for us, it's between 6 and 10 week process, potentially, including booking. That's all the questions that we have available at the moment. In terms of, I suppose, other things to think about, we talked about the GV620, which is this trailer tracking solution, which is really good. Again, installation based, the kind of things you could be looking at is installation on the rear of the vehicle with the power supply connected to the light board, potentially, or the rear lights. That would be how you could potentially power these devices. But as we've said, it's got a good 120 days battery life that will sit there. And obviously, every time the ignition is on or the device is connected, it will repower and recharge that device. So again, a very powerful solution, very long standby. We also, for anybody who is interested in the next level of trailer tracking, we have the 650, which has been developed, which also has CAN capability. So we can actually interact with the CAN of the trailer unit nowadays as well, which is obviously becoming a lot more prevalent. Another question coming in here: 30-second battery, the 1-2 report. How long can they work? Sorry, I'm assuming, Thomas Love, that's related to the GL 30. Yeah, along the same thing, 30-second package of 1 second. I'd need to come back and double check that, because yes, I appreciate that that's it would probably be less, because the other test was done with the 60-second sending rate. So if we were doing a 1 second, literally sending data every 1 second, yeah, I would say that would reduce. So if it was 30-second packages, yeah, it would be reduced. I don't have an exact time now, but that's something that if you're interested, contact myself and Vernon. We can then look into that. I can speak to the R&D team and get you a response specifically. We can look at your use case specifically. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I understood
sorry,
that. Yeah.
We have another question from someone that is asking about the compatibility from some Queclink devices.
Yeah.
And as Alper mentioned before, Queclink devices are fully supported on GpsGate. And the dashcam also are supported. And just to complement this part, I know that a lot of people now are testing GpsGate, so or will start testing GpsGate. So for now, probably there you don't have so many questions, but at some point you will have. So the invitation is first, if you have an additional question, you can reach us at support@gpsgate.com anytime. And also, we have a wide knowledge base where you can find a lot of information for set up your platform as you need. So this is the invitation from GpsGate support site. Thank you very much, Carlos. I think we can move on to the next slide where we actually reveal the prize.
Yeah, I've just got one more, Alpa, unfortunately. And it was because Carlos mentioned this about online documentation. It reminded me of a question I had from an existing customer who does utilize Queclink devices already. It was really just about availability of online documentation, because yes, I would say at the moment, our website doesn't make all data available. That hasn't historically been kind of how we've worked, but we've been working on that internally. And this year in 2026, we will be upgrading the website at some point. I don't know the exact time frame at the moment, which will be creating more access to documentation for customers. So we know and we've accepted that that is something where we have been limited in the past, and that has been a limitation of our website. but we are increasing that capability. And as some examples of things we're doing, we'll also be providing access to a ticketing system on there for customers as well, which will give customers direct access to their own tickets, which I think will be a great help and just improve communications, as well as obviously available documentation and the download links for varying tools and documentation. So that is something that's being addressed this year. So thank you for that question, Adivia.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay. So talking about the prize, and I think it's an amazing prize. I'm going to kind of talk you through it quickly because I want to make it really clear what's actually on offer here. So basically, if you scan that QR code and enter in your project details, we at Queclink will give you, depending on which particular product is relevant to your project, either 5 or 10 free devices to try out on your project. Now, GpsGate are going to give 6 months worth of service free of charge, but that's not just on the trial units that we're going to give you. So we give you 10 to try. GpsGate will give you 6 months free of charge on the entire deployment. So let's say your project was for 1,000 vehicles and you won the draw. We could send you 10 of our devices, which you could try for a month. And if you were quite happy with those, you then say to Alpa, do you know what? We're going to deploy the 1,000 units. He's going to give you 6 months free service on 1,000 units on this platform, which I think is phenomenal. But that's the competition. That's what's on offer. So scan that QR code in front of you and enter the competition. The draw will be in a couple of weeks' time. I'm not sure when. I think it's going to be in 2 weeks' time. And we will obviously publish on social media the results of that draw, who's won product, and obviously we'll follow those projects up, I think also on social media. So giving you some exposure and also obviously GpsGate and ourselves. Unless there's anything else, I think that brings us to the conclusion of the webinar. Does anyone of the panelists have anything else they wish to add or say, or are we all good?
I think we're all good, Vernon. Thank you very much for the great explanation. We're waiting for customers to submit their projects.
Perfect. You might want to go back one slide, Sweet, so that everyone's got those QR codes. Brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for your time. I appreciate it's difficult to find slots in your busy working days. So thank you from me and from everyone else on the panel for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye now.
You.
Cheers.